guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review for Legends Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is a standalone, although there's technically gonna be a companion, like, prequel as of the filming of this. Maybe he's gonna do more in this world, but right now it just is a standalone thing. Adult cozy fantasy, which means high fantasy vibes, very low stakes. It stars our main character of Viv, who is an orc adventurer who used to be sort of like a sword for hire, and months ago decided that she kind of fell in love with coffee and wanted to start a coffee shop, so she was working towards that, finally has everything she feels like she needs, and she goes to this town to start this shop, and we follow her journey of starting this shop. You know, everything's sort of coming together for her, what that means for her, that kind of thing. This is literally if you take like a coffee shop life sim and throw it in D&D. That's what you get. And this is a very popular book within the cozy fantasy genre. Travis Baldree originally self-published this in early 2022, and by the end of 2022 it was traditionally published because it got such a big fandom. So first off, we talk about the world building with this book. Like I said, pretty straightforward, but set in a fantasy world, and I liked the ways that things were dropped in here, and that it wasn't like hard to understand. There's a little bit of like hand waviness around some things, but in a way that I felt like really worked for this, and in a way that, like, because my expectations were cozy fantasy, I was able to be like, whatever happens, man. Sort of in the same way that I do when I read like a middle grade fantasy, for example. This had that same sort of like whimsical nature to it. So we have some classic fantasy archetypes of like an orc, a succubus woman, a little like ratkin, a like fantasy sort of college with like ley lines and creatures and like dark elves and things like that, like things that you're used to seeing if you're used to fantasy tropes. And everything was presented and played out in a way that you know, similar to when you're reading like a romance book and you sort of know the beats it's gonna follow, and that's what makes it very sort of like comforting and like easy and just brain off in a way, but still like has some substance. This has that similar feel. So I liked some of the things it presented. I think if he continues to write in this world, it'll be interesting to see some things potentially fleshed out, because I think he kind of just like churned this out and was like, hey, and it was kind of fun and a hit for people. But there's like different magical creatures, ley lines, like I said, university. There's even this character that sort of has like a time travel element to it that's not a main point of the story, but is dropped in there, I think, for potential future stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. As far as our characters, Viv is our main character, and we talked about this in the live show because this was our House Salt Book Club pick for last month, so I'll link that live show on the screen. But we talked about how a lot of the characters do sort of revolve around Viv, but I liked Viv, and there is this found family element that teeters the line between found family and like found coworker, is how we phrased it on the live show, where I wish we would have known a little bit more about some of these characters and how they interact with each other outside of Viv. But the way they interact with Viv is all very cute. Like Viv has this giving up the adventurer life kind of thing, not really trusting that everything's gonna work out. We have another character, Tandri, that she has like kind of a growing affection for, who is sort of her like partner at the shop. We have the guy that does all of the carpentry stuff. We have a little baker who's like a little rat guy, and they're all adorable. Very not complex, very like simple. Again, I would have probably liked to see some of their own interactions to make it like a fully formed unit and not just Viv at the center, but still so cute, especially Thimble, who is the little baker character. He is immensely adorable, and I love him so much. Lastly, we talk about our plot. Like I said, low stakes. There are some things that are set up to be like potentially have stakes, but ultimately, like, you know this is gonna work out. You know how this is gonna go, and it's not gonna veer off much from that, and that's totally fine for me, personally. I don't need it to veer off from that. A lot of the things and the things it was setting up, I was like, I know which path this is gonna go down, but what was fun was the experience of like, this is basically, like I said, like a coffee shop sim. You're like building the shop, that little experience. It feels like a video game. Travis Baldree came from a video game background. You feel like you're doing little mini quests for like a building sort of like mini game. There's different little like fantasy tropes and things popping in, and like the experience, the like aesthetic experience of this coffee shop, it's a place that I could envision. It's a place I wanted to go to. The descriptions of the food and the drinks and stuff, like so cute. And I just highly enjoyed it. I ended up settling on like a 3.75 to 4 stars. This was lovely. A little bit more content with some of the characters and things I think could have pulled it into a 5-star for me, but overall, really enjoyed this. I really see why people love it. I see why it's a nice little brain break. I love this genre of cozy fantasy, and yeah, happy that this has been such a nice little relief for people to sink into when they want a little bit of a break. So comment below and let me know what you thought of Legends and Lattes. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.